Level 1. In the cold void of space, where nothing seems to stir, a quiet dance begins. The universe, vast and patient, weaves together the threads of creation. Hydrogen, the simplest and most abundant element, swirls through dark clouds of gas and dust. Gravity whispers its pull, gathering these particles, drawing them closer, ever closer, until the weight becomes too much to bear. Then, a spark, a gentle nudge from the cosmos, ignites the core, and the first light of a star is born. It is a fire not yet fierce, a glow not yet brilliant, but the heart of the sun has begun its slow, inevitable burn. The fusion of hydrogen into helium starts, and with it, a new star awakens. This moment is the genesis of everything, the spark that fuels the very existence of life. A quiet moment, yet one that will change the course of the universe forever. Level 2. For now, the sun burns steadily, a brilliant, unyielding light in the vastness of space. It exists in balance, a quiet, consistent heartbeat in the cold silence of the cosmos. Hydrogen flows through the core, fusing into helium, releasing vast amounts of energy. This is the main sequence phase, the golden age of a star's life. The sun lives in this phase for nearly 90% of its existence, a time of stability and constant power. For us, it's the warmth of morning and the comfort of dusk. It's the reason we wake, the reason we sleep. Every sunrise, every sunset, the sun's quiet power fills our world with life. On Earth, the gentle pull of the sun's gravity holds us steady, keeping our planet in its orbit. Without it, there would be no warmth, no seasons, no breath. This is the sun's time of peace, a time when its energy is constant and sure. But beneath the surface, in the depths of its core, the clock is ticking. The sun is burning through its fuel, one hydrogen atom at a time, and though it may seem eternal, change is coming. The storm is brewing in silence, and the sun's life will shift as gently as the changing tides, only far more grand, far more powerful. Level 3. The first signs of the sun's aging process are subtle, almost imperceptible. The hydrogen in its core begins to dwindle, replaced by helium, and the balance shifts ever so slightly. What was once a steady burn begins to stretch, to expand, as gravity fights against the rising pressure of the core. And slowly, as the core contracts, the outer layers begin to swell, as though the sun is awakening from its long, comfortable slumber. It grows larger, its red hue painting the sky with a new light. The sun, once golden and warm, now burns a fierce crimson, reaching outward into the void. Its radius expands, swallowing the planets closest to it, Mercury, Venus, perhaps even Earth itself. In this phase, the sun becomes a red giant, a star whose energy still burns, but whose shape is changed. And as it swells, the Earth will feel the heat rise, the oceans begin to boil, the air become thick with the relentless heat of an expanding star. The once steady flame now flickers with instability, and the dance of creation begins to show signs of destruction. The sun's slow burn begins to accelerate as it consumes itself, stretching the fabric of space and time in a way that will soon be beyond comprehension. The Earth, as we know it, will no longer be able to survive. Level 4. The sun is now a colossal red giant, its outer layers expanding far beyond their original boundaries. In its wake, the Earth will feel the searing kiss of fire, a heat so intense that the oceans will boil away and the atmosphere will wither into nothingness. This is the sun's fury, a star in the throes of transformation. The delicate balance that once sustained life on Earth begins to unravel. The heat rises as the sun's surface expands, pushing the very limits of what is survivable. The air will grow unbreathable. The seas will dry up, turning to dust. Life as we know it can no longer sustain itself in this newfound world. Yet, in this cosmic destruction, the sun gives way to something new. The elements once locked in the core will spread across the universe, creating the building blocks for new stars, new systems, new worlds. For now, Earth is lost in this fiery wrath. The planet will either be engulfed by the sun's ever-growing reach, or it will be cast out, frozen and barren, left as a testament to the sun's once beautiful existence. The final days of Earth will be marked by heat, light, and an inevitable surrender to the vast power of the sun. But even in destruction, creation lingers, for what burns away today will form new stars tomorrow. Level 5. As the sun nears the end of its time as a hydrogen-burning star, it begins to burn through its core fuel at an accelerated rate. Helium, the product of its fusion process, begins to accumulate in the core, and the pressure builds once more. With this change comes a momentous shift. The sun begins to burn helium. This is when the core becomes even hotter, and the sun's outer layers expand further. The star has entered a new phase of its life. No longer dependent on hydrogen fusion, the sun now starts to rely on the fusion of helium into heavier elements like carbon and oxygen. This process is far more intense and will only accelerate the sun's transformation. As it expands, the sun's temperature increases. The once cool outer layers now burn with the intensity of an inferno, and the heat becomes unbearable. It's not just the end of one phase, it's the beginning of a new cycle, one that will continue until the sun exhausts its helium supply. This cycle will be short compared to its main sequence life, but it will be marked by extreme fluctuations as the sun undergoes multiple phases of expansion and contraction. With this, the sun enters its twilight, an aging giant that burns brightly but cannot maintain this intensity forever. Level 6. As the sun runs out of helium to burn, the balance tips once more. The core contracts and heats up, but the outer layers are now in a different state. They no longer want to stay in their place. They break free, streaming outward in a magnificent show of light and color. The sun sheds its outer layers, creating a vast, glowing cloud of gas and dust, the Planetary nebula. This is the final chapter of the sun's life as a giant. The core, now reduced to a white-hot remnant, remains a white dwarf, but the outer layers drift away, carried by solar winds. These remnants will scatter throughout space, seeding the cosmos with the very materials needed to create new stars and planets. The sun, in its final act, becomes a cosmic dust cloud, rich with elements like carbon, oxygen, and nitrogen, all the building blocks of life itself. The sun dies not in a fiery blaze, but in a quiet exhalation, returning to the universe what it once created. Its death will give rise to the stars and systems of the future. But for the solar system, the end has come. The sun, once the heart of everything, now becomes a distant memory. The remnants of its once glorious form will be preserved in the stars that come after it, a legacy that endures through time. Level 7. When the outer layers of the sun drift into space, they leave behind a dense, hot core. This is the end of the sun's great expansion, a dying ember that no longer burns with the same intensity. The core, now a white dwarf, is a remnant of the star's once vibrant self. It is small, no larger than Earth, but incredibly dense. So dense that a single teaspoon of this matter would weigh more than a mountain. No longer fueled by nuclear fusion, the white dwarf glows with the residual heat from its earlier phases. It's not a fiery ball of gas, but a quiet, fading ember. A celestial body that will never again produce light the way it once did. Instead, it will slowly cool, becoming fainter and dimmer as it drifts through the cosmos, a silent relic of a star that once nurtured life. For billions of years, it will continue to cool and shrink until it becomes a cold, inert object, its light completely extinguished. And yet, this final stage is not without significance. The sun's death is not truly an end, but a transformation into something that will quietly survive for eons. Level 8. Trillions of years from now, the white dwarf will have cooled so much that it will no longer emit any detectable heat or light. It will become a black dwarf, a cold, dark, lifeless ball of matter drifting through the void. The very essence of the sun will have long faded into the cold darkness of space. No longer visible, no longer radiating warmth, the sun will become just another piece of dead matter in the infinite dark. At this stage, the sun has no more energy to give. There is no flame left, no pulse, no sign of life. But the black dwarf is not a forgotten relic. It is a marker, a footprint left in the cosmic sands, a sign of the cycle of birth, life, and death that governs the stars. The sun's death, its transformation into a white dwarf and eventually a black dwarf, will mark the end of its story. Yet the material that once formed the sun will scatter into the universe, enriching it with the elements that are necessary for the creation of new stars, new systems, and new possibilities. Even in death, the sun will live on, its matter becoming the foundation for the next generation of celestial bodies. Level 9. As the sun becomes a black dwarf and its light fades into oblivion, the entire solar system will enter its final phase. The once lively warm planets will freeze, their atmospheres gone, their oceans turn to ice. The Earth, once teeming with life, will be nothing but a cold, lifeless rock drifting through the cosmos. Without the sun's warmth, the planet will slowly succumb to the eternal chill of space. Even the gas giants will become frigid, their once volatile atmospheres now frozen in place. At this stage, the solar system is no longer the vibrant, life-sustaining system it once was. The planets, stripped of their warmth, will continue to drift through space, forever haunted by the memory of a star that once gave them life. The solar system, a once thriving system of warmth and energy, is now nothing more than a frozen graveyard of worlds. The sun's light, which once illuminated and nurtured the planets, is gone. What remains is only silence and darkness, the final echo of a star's death. Level 10. Though the sun's death will have plunged the solar system into darkness, the universe itself will continue its relentless expansion. The very fabric of space will stretch further, galaxies will drift apart, and the stars in the sky will become increasingly distant. Our solar system will float, isolated in an ever-growing expanse. Over time, it will become more and more distant from other stars, galaxies, and cosmic events. But in this isolation, the solar system will persist, drifting through the dark reaches of the universe, becoming more and more insignificant as the millennia pass. The stars that once gave light to Earth will have long since died, their remains scattered across the universe, leaving behind only the cold, dark remnants of their former selves. It's a melancholy fate. The solar system, once part of a vibrant galaxy, will become an isolated, forgotten relic in an ever-expanding universe. Level 11. As time stretches on, the universe will slowly approach a state of maximum entropy, a state of complete disorder where all matter and energy are evenly distributed and no further work can be done. Stars, planets, and galaxies will have long since run out of fuel, their once active cores fading into darkness. All that remains will be cold, lifeless objects drifting in the vast emptiness of space. The solar system, long abandoned by its sun, will become a lonely, frozen relic, surrounded by the remnants of stars that have already collapsed. The once energetic cosmos will be reduced to a quiet, dark expanse, a universe no longer capable of sustaining life, creativity, or energy. The final fate of the solar system, and indeed the entire universe, will be a slow drift toward cosmic stillness, where no stars burn and no light shines. The death of the sun will signal the end of an era, the end of life as we know it. But in the cold, lifeless silence of space, the story will continue. New stars may form, new galaxies may emerge, but the once thriving solar system will only be a memory in the vastness of time. Level 12. In the farthest future, when the universe has cooled and all the stars have burned out, even space-time itself may begin to collapse. The universe, having stretched so far, may reverse its expansion, collapsing back in on itself. This is the potential Big Crunch, the ultimate fate of the universe, where all matter and energy condense into a singularity, a single point of infinite density. The sun, as it once was, will be gone. Its energy, its matter, all transformed and scattered into the void. As the universe collapses, space and time will fold into a final point. The once vibrant cosmos, the galaxies, the stars, everything will cease to exist. The universe will be reborn from this singularity, but we won't be here to witness it. The final level of the sun's expansion marks the ultimate fate of all things, the end of time itself. This is the true end, not just of a star, not just of a system, but of everything. It is the silence that comes after the storm, the stillness after the chaos, the final collapse of all that ever was.